Hey, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be working on the elbow armor for the Punisher War Machine suit. So here's the armor, and here is the piece that covers the joint. So I just want to go over how I arrived at deciding to use this material versus just wearing the spandex suit under it. So this material is SainSmart's TPU. I have not messed around with TPU a whole lot, but I wanted to try it in this because I think it would be more comfortable to bend my arm in something that still looks like it belongs to the suit rather than worrying about trying to attach a solid PLA print to my elbow. Pinchy, scratchy, no thank you. So I didn't want to forego using the elbow armor, so I thought, well, let's experiment with some TPU. So this is SainSmart brand TPU, and I went through a couple iterations of this. That's right, it's not perfect right off the bat every time. Sometimes it takes trial and error. This was the first one that I printed, and you can tell how yucky that is on the side. This stuff, TPU, if you print the supports too close to the actual object, it will fuse. It is really good at fusing to itself. This print, I learned that the tensile strength of TPU is really, really strong. So when I put my arm in this and I try to bend it, it takes almost all my strength to try to bend that. If you don't know, TPU is a flexible filament. PLA is a rigid filament. So that is one of the reasons I chose TPU. So this was printed, I think, with 2mm walls at 10% infill with 2-line multiplier on the infill. That's not very thick, and yet I can't bend my arm when this is, it's still flexible, but I can't bend my arm when it's in here. So I think I went with 0.65mm walls and 5% infill with 2-line multiplier on the infill, and got this result. Yeah! It completely collapses and then goes right back to its form. Super resilient. So now we have to talk about how to get this onto this. And I don't want to just glue it. I suppose I could, but I want to make it look a little more mechanical than that. So I'm going to experiment some more. Let's go. So I began with my acetone and glazing putty mixture, put it on the hard piece of the armor. After that, I grabbed some wet sandpaper and began wet sanding. After it was dry, it was time to use the flat black primer that I've chosen. Then it was time to mark where on the TPU arm piece the hard elbow piece lined up with. For me, it was the 5th line actually, so I decided to line up the little groove in the PLA piece to the 5th groove on the TPU piece. I then grabbed a 7/32 drill bit, mainly because it is slightly bigger than the mechanical fasteners I'm using, which are actually Chicago screws. So as you can see, the drill bit is just a little bit bigger than the main shaft of that Chicago screw. So it's going to work perfectly because I want a little play left in there. And as you can see, it's a great fit, but still has enough play, but it won't come out. So I grabbed a light colored Sharpie to mark a hole because I do not want to try holding both of these pieces while drilling a hole through the TPU. And I grabbed the smallest Chicago screw in my set to work. Got it through, and then I grabbed the other side, the threaded piece, the screw piece, and started getting it in there, realized I needed a screwdriver, got my screwdriver, and started tightening it down, only to realize it was too small. So I went to the next size up, tried again. This one worked perfectly. Now it's just time to repeat on the other side. So here we are. We have the armor piece completed for the elbow, and it's still wearable. I can still bend my arm in it, and it has some play. It doesn't need to swivel a ton. It just needs to have enough play where it goes with this rubber. Gluing it would have not been a great option. I always prefer mechanical fasteners to glue when possible, and plus it just gives it that mechanical look the rest of the suit's going to have. So I know that you see some of the pink on there and everything like that, maybe some of the striations, but this thing's going to get battle damaged like crazy. So we're not going to see that in the end product. But there you go. There's the elbow armor. Now the only other problem is I got to do it again. So we'll see you next time.